Yo, 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 what's up, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to yet again another fantastic indie creator interview. It's your Cape Crusader Cody, and we're keeping it geekly with our new guest, Emmanuel. We're here to break down Tales from the Interface, Volume 4, The Peak and the Pit, and everything in between. Emmanuel, welcome to the stream. How are you doing today?
I'm great. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I had the chance to read Volume 4, and I just love everything about this. Is like the push from humanity to kind of like forget the basics and like just like try to strive for that artificial lifestyle, I guess is the best way to put it. And I love how in at least Volume 4, I didn't have the chance to read the other three, but you had that nice balance of like there's so much more to this than just like technology, right? Like we are capable of so much more. And I loved it. I gotta give you big props on it.
Thanks.
So let's begin. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I love people. My job is interacting with people. I'm a UX guy, so I like to know more about. And I feel like with technology, we're kind of forgetting who we are, and forgetting that we're capable of a lot of stuff. So that's one of my motivation for the comic.
Oh, really? So you've been a UI and a UX designer for 20 plus years, and that's kind of like what fed into comic creation for you?
It certainly was an inspiration. I've always done comics, since elementary school. But it just it's a good way to earn a living, and I like to interact with people, so it was a good choice for me.
So you've been publishing since 1997. I know you said in elementary school you did a lot of work too, but like what was some of your earliest works? Was it Tales from the Interface, or did you have any other projects that you worked on?
Well, in Quebec here we have something called college cégep, which is when you're like 17, it's like early university. It's a bit weird, but I think my first self-publication was at that time in 97, and I pretty much was a small stapled legal format folded in two, with a silkscreen printing that I was doing at and so my first two books were that. So they were distributed locally within Montreal, attend the conventions around there. Mingled with the rest of the Montreal community. And so those were my two books. And then I took a foray into webcomics for a while and created a strip that I had for 2 or 3 years called Hot Team. And then after that, I tried to do a kind of a sci-fi science fiction space opera. And some of it was the inspiration for Tales from the Interface. I reused some of the characters for the first book.
Oh, that's so cool.
That's about
that is so cool. I love it. So you are not only the artist but the writer as well. I mean, what came first for you? Did you start coming up with stories and then drawing them when you were younger in elementary school, or was it the art always?
I think I came into it more through the art, but in a way that I wanted to tell stories, if you follow what I mean, not just the art by itself, and to tell a story with the art. So writing came along as a way to speed up the process. So you sometimes it's faster to write your script. Sometimes it's faster to draw it, depending on what you're doing. If it's an action scene, for instance, it's hard to describe in words sometimes. So I like to go in and just draw the scene rather than describe it in the script.
Oh, I love that. I love that. So with Tales from the Interface, can you give us a little bit about the concept? What is the story about?
It's a loss of contact of who we are deeply, who we are as human. So there's this AI that took control, and you have these people that are caught inside a city. You don't see the sky; it's all closed up, and they seem like the AI is purveying, is supplying every needs they have. So whatever they need, they can get through that, and they lost the sense of making things for themselves. So you have a couple in that, and in that world, and then he goes all into the virtual world. He thinks it's the best thing, and he wants more. And his girlfriend, she kind of stumbles upon an archive of old books, old objects, and that's finds out, we did stuff by ourselves. We're capable of making things, and she's amazed about the quantity of even that place, because it's still not what we have today. It's just a small sample of what we created as a society.
It's really interesting, the idea of the power that books hold. Like there was that fire, the Library of Alexandria. I think we lost how many centuries of human knowledge. I mean, I've been deep diving podcast after podcast about like how human civilization could be a lot more intricate than what we're led to believe in the beginning. We just don't know, because the books were probably destroyed in that fire, or any sort of literature like documenting that could have been destroyed. And it's awesome to think about in the future that cycle, like kind of like repeats, right? Like they get everything they want, and they stop forgetting like who they are and how creative they can be. What inspired this idea within you?
I think what really troubles me is the fact that, through the internet we have access to a infinite amount of knowledge, but the will to obtain it is very low. So even though it's easy to do, people don't go and do it. You have the archive.org. You've probably stumbled upon that one day, and it's an amazing website. You have tons of books that are free to read. You can access all that knowledge, and buying classic books is cheap. You can find them secondhand. It's so easy to get access to all that rich knowledge, but yet people, they like their little memes and their little. I don't want to put down anything, but I mean, bettering yourself. It seems like it's a dying art. Like we're just living for the day and not trying to become better humans.
So, Manu, I gotta mention, how earlier we were talking and I was trying to get the pronunciation of your name. It's funny you said that, because I had an instance where I did an interview and I completely butchered these pronunciations. It led me to kind of like research how to properly pronunciate words, like going into the deep diving, like the literature, like science of it, the chart. There's like a pronunciation chart you look at, how to like make sure you're hitting all those different syllables and everything. And it blew my mind, because that was interview 321. So I've been doing this for 300 interviews, and at no point did I ever think like, hey, I could sit down and just reteach myself how to pronunciate these words better. Like it's mind blowing, because like that, you just hit it on the head. Like we have all these tools at our disposal and we're not jumping on it. Like, why do you think that is? Like, what do you think it is within the human like psychology or nature that makes us just not care about it?
It's because it's so easy to attain. I think it's there's an effort that's necessary, and it's represented in my book through Clara having to go through all these perils to reach the archive, and then the kind of leader of the society says everybody can go. It's free. I'm not stopping you. You just have to go through all these hurdles and to attain that knowledge. So knowledge is hard. Getting better is hard, but just laying down and consuming is easy. So I think that's really probably the issue here. Is that we're not.
Do you think it's just we're so used to instant gratification that our dopamine just doesn't care to put that extra work in to achieve that higher level of learning?
Yes, I think that you've hit that certainly, and it's and in the end, it's not what we need. It might because the more you get, the less it becomes valuable. So if you have access to 1 million comic books, they won't be necessarily very valuable, but if you only have 3 in your life, then these books might be your treasures.
So I, when I read this right away, in like I think the first like page or two, it looked like a little nod to Mousetrap, almost like they're walking to their apartments and they're going up like these little ramps, and it looked like a little Mousetrap game. Like, was there any intention for that, or what was the reasoning for making those apartments constructed the way they were?
The idea, I think, was to have kind of that layered society that you see in a lot of sci-fi books, like the caste system. And then when Gauthier gets more advanced in the company, he gets a better apartment on upper level, but shit comes down. You know? So I think that's is that the one on top they get the best, and then the rest trickles down.
Yep.
Have you ever seen a platform? It's a movie on Netflix. I thought it was wonderful. It's the concept. You have a platform full of beautiful food, and the first people on the first layer, they get the first pick, and then the platform goes down, and then what's left over is for the people at the next step, and until the bottom where there's no food left.
Yeah.
So it's a bit like that. I think it's that's why I have this idea of them going up.
So I really, in that same page too, you had a brilliant usage of like the piping to kind of break the panels. I just love the way you were able to utilize a lot of the environment to kind of break those panels and like put like in the gutter spaces and the bleed pages. Like, what was some of your inspiration for that as well? I mean, it seemed genius. My eyes just like fell in love with each page and kind of distinguished like what was part of panel, like the breaking of the paneling, and what was the actual panel itself.
It's I'm not sure what to tell you. I guess it's from all my reading. I tried to keep I think this page had more impact because I try to keep to a fairly simple 6-panel grid, and then in some cases I will try to break it down and add something a little bit more crazy, and try to hit the contrast makes things interesting, right? So if you're always the same, it becomes boring. So you try to alternate between simple and complex. Even within a panel, you can have a very complex part of it, which with a big sky that's empty. You know, if you look at the work of Moebius, you'll see that all the time. He will make a very complex little character and then an empty sky beneath.
And it's just it's awesome because like it just makes it hits so much harder. That detail within that small character is so much more impactful because there's so much negative space surrounding it. I love it so much. Let's talk a little bit about that AI. You said in this world AI has kind of just overran things. What are the implications, do you think, of that for us in today's standards?
It's a loss of a bit what I was saying earlier. You know, it's a loss of our creative spark. You know, we no longer need to try. You know, to create things, and it really bothers me because creative people kind of, I feel like they're gonna get smothered by all that AI generated stuff. It's going to be cheap. It's going to be easy. There's going to be a million people trying to make things with that. And then the value of actual art kind of goes down because of it. Because it's, as I was saying, if you have 1 million comic book, the value of each goes down. Even, and how do people try to find those special ones, you know, that are not AI? They're going to be hidden within the mass. So I guess it's a bit what we're doing today, you know, with Kickstarter and Patreon and all those stuff. People are trying to reconnect with the people who are creating the art. So that's I guess that's the hope, like that we will find ways to still connect with each other.
And you know, there's a big difference between learning, you know, how to paint and make art on all different textures and canvases and types of paper versus writing a prompt and getting an AI generated. Like you like essentially cheat yourself out of years of experience, and when it comes time like where you're not able to make a prompt and you have to actually just sit there and do it, like 9 times out of 10 you won't be able to because you don't have that experience built up.
And it's a muscle that you train.
Yeah.
You know, like creativity. So if you're depending on something to be creative for you, you lose that muscle.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think right now is the perfect time. Let's go ahead and train that muscle. Let's head over to the Kickstarter and check out the campaign for this. So give me 1 second. We're going to switch right over, and everyone that is watching with us, be sure to check this out. I'm going to drop the link in chat. If you can back, we would love to see that, but if not, completely understandable. Share this on Facebook and Twitter, anywhere you can. Word of mouth is 100% free, and it doesn't cost anything. Get out there, help an artist in your family or your friend list. Get inspired to start creating today. We are looking at Tales from the Interface 4. Through the Interface, artificial intelligence now controls human destiny. Currently at $1,485 of a $1,483 goal. Congratulations! Did you just fund? Like I think I was. Yeah, I think I was looking at it. I was like, he's like one back away. 70 backers, 7 days left to go. I mean, even if you did it, congratulations! You're like right there. That is so awesome. Project we love as well, man.
Yeah, that's great. I love that the team in Kickstarter is trying to promote some of the projects, and they have this new Kickstarter Reads Twitter account where they try to promote stuff as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Kickstarter has been my best way to get out there and get some interest from people.
So let's go ahead. We're going to check out some of these interiors down below. By the way, guys, 48 color pages of comics. Awesome. So is every volume roughly about 48 pages?
Yes, exactly. It's just the first one. I think it's 44 or something. It's a little bit smaller. But all the others, it was really like separated in like 2 chapters of 24 pages.
Mm-hmm. So with right here, the books over these propaganda posters, if you will, was this inspired by those events where we had the activists throwing like the cans of soup on the paintings for the environment stuff?
Nope.
No, I was reading. I was like, oh, this is interesting. So I love though how they're amplifying, how books are important. What's the meaning of this page for you? Like, this is just the increased search for and hunger for knowledge, or was there anything else like kind of represented here?
Well, there's the lady who drags her boy away from knowledge, which
mm-hmm.
was important to me, like showing that she decides not to introduce him to that because she's afraid of not being in the norm. And then there's these robots. So within the archive contains a group of rebels mm-hmm. that live there, and they kind of like books. But then there's a robot there that decided that he loves books too. So you have kind of that 360 where the machine kind of feels like it could be doing more than what
mm-hmm.
it is.
Which that's an interesting concept in itself, right? AI that's able to kind of think for itself. That's a scary idea. Mm-hmm. And then we have a dream provided by the interface right here. I love this sequence. This was gorgeous. What was this suit inspired by?
Oh my god, I don't know.
Like the wings, it reminded me of like early 90s anime. I cannot remember what show it was, but I remember they used to have like a mech suit where they could have wings and fly around, and I was like, man, this is perfect.
Yeah, the mech. Yeah, so maybe I'm an 80s kid, so
mm-hmm.
We had a lot of those kind of costumes and stuff. There's a I forgot the name of that toy line, but they have these suits that you can plug things on. Probably that. I look at a lot of toys, so I think that might have been the inspiration. Yeah,
these interiors are just gorgeous. And right here too, this is kind of what I was talking about before too, how we have all this negative space and how it bleeds into this pipework. It's just awesome. I love this so much. The way you're able to take your panels and kind of just, like you said, not make it, quote unquote boring or anything. The reader is always looking, and they're always looking forward to the next page. It's just, you nailed it, man.
Yeah, thanks.
So let's check. Go ahead.
I like this page. It's like you kind of see the 2 characters are very small inside that big kind of mm-hmm. functioning system that they are a part of.
So let's go ahead and check out some of these tiers. Guys, like I said, right here is the link. Be sure to back it if you can. If not, just putting this wherever you can works just as well. We have the digital copy of this for $6 Canadian or $5 USD. You can get the digital catch-up, which is all 4 volumes for 18 Canadian or 14 USD. And then we have the print version of this for 24 Canadian or 18 USD. Now, right here, we have an interesting one. So give us a little bit about this. A print plus sketch in the book. Is this anything they want sketched, or do you get to pick out something from the book, or, what's the rules with this?
So basically, the way I'm pretty fast at printing my books. So once it's funded, I have I have some little finishing touches to do, but I'll print them right away and then start sketching. I'm telling people, just let me know in the message if you want anything specific, and I'll try my best to do it.
Oh, that's cool.
Otherwise, I'll just do some random thing if you don't reach out to me.
And then we have a huge one. Pledge 75 Canadian or 56 USD. Get 184 pages of comics in total. So is this all 4 volumes in print form?
Exactly. That's the entire comic series. You get all 4 books. It's a little bit hard to ship. It's still 4 books. Though all of these physical rewards have Canadian shipping included. So when you choose it, you're gonna have a small fee added if you're not Canada. So I've tried to show you the most precise price there.
And a big thing too for anyone that is not living in Canada, you could always get the digital. The digital does not have a shipping cost, so you could always work around that. Now we have another big bang. So for 200 Canadian or 149 USD, be in the book. So what's this look like? Do they get a significant role? What type of character can they expect to be?
So usually it's a background character, like part of a crowd. In the previous book, it was at one point it was like the leader of a group fighting like huge centipedes. Sometimes it's the main character in a panel. It really depends on you send me pictures and I'll try to see where that face can fit.
Centipedes can be scary as hell. I cannot imagine fighting a huge army of them. Like, help me out. I do not want to be part of that. And then that's it, guys. Everything else is all gone. So make sure you jump in on this while you still have the chance. Congratulations on funding once again, man. That is so awesome. At $1,485, let's make that higher, guys. Let's hit at least $2,000 by the end of the day. So, man, with that being said, after going through the Kickstarter in its entirety, what would you like to say to anyone who might be on the fence about backing if you just had a few moments to address them?
Well, I put all my heart in this comic. I think it's it's a good piece. It's printed high, and I go to my printer and I approve the copies. It's all made locally in Montreal, and I ship it myself. I think it's a very good quality product and I think it's a good value for what it is.
And I think it's one hell of a bang for your buck too. I had the opportunity once again to read Volume 4, and it was phenomenal. I love the story, and I can't wait to see what's next. Is there going to be a Volume 5, or what's next for you in 2023? Any other projects that we can expect from you?
Yeah, so I'm working on Volume 5 right now. It takes me 2 years to make a book, so I guess we can talk again. That's fine.
I might have a little bit of a beard or more gray hairs.
Yeah, it's a long process because I have my full-time job, and but I do work like about 2 hours a day on this, so it's a lot of work to get through. So I'm finishing it actually. So Volume 5 will be the last chapter of that. Okay. So yeah, I'm excited to get that done.
Hey, and guys, in about 1.5 years or 2 years, you can expect to see you come back on to talk about Volume 5. But with that being said, it is time for us to hit one of my favorite parts of the show, and that's where I get to ask you for a little bit of advice. And I think I got a really good question after kind of deep diving. What happens if AI just gives you everything and you lose that creative spark? For anyone who is looking to reignite that spark within themselves, what would you say to them to kind of help them just get started with that passion again?
I think this is exactly what I did personally. Is I hit a rut at one point. I wasn't drawing anymore for a couple of years. I didn't feel I don't know. It just happened that way. Busy with life and everything. So what I did is I decided to invest 15 minutes of my day to draw. and 15 minutes is not a lot of time. If it's too much, do 5. But I think the point is to sit down and draw every day, even if it's just 5 minutes, and then that's how you build an habit. So I don't think there's a miracle that can happen, but if you just reserve that time for yourself, if you love drawing, reserve that time for yourself and just spend that little time, and then little by little you can do it a bit longer and a bit longer. Try to find some spots to do it. I've tried to remove any obstacles, and I have a simple process. When I start drawing and I draw on my tablet, I don't need to clean any paint. I don't need to. Everything's ready. I can sit down and start drawing within 5 minutes, and I guess that's an important thing as well.
You don't have to cannonball back into the pool. You can start out by dipping your toe in, making sure that water feels good, slowly putting that foot in, and then bit by bit, you're in that pool. And I think that's a perfect way to do it. 15 minutes a day, you spend 15 minutes sometimes just laying on the couch deciding what to do, right? I mean, that's awesome, man. Thank you for such sound advice. I appreciate it. Everyone watching, right here is the link to check out the Kickstarter once again. And Tales from the Interface, this was awesome. I love it. Can't wait to get you back on for Volume 5. Everyone watching, I hope you all have a lovely Thursday. Most importantly, guys, keep it geekly.